Here's what I mean when I say there's no such thing as a perfect portfolio, but over time, you give things enough time, we pursue a net result for a client. We follow a net result for a client. All things put into that, taxes, the types of investments that are underlying those. There are going to absolutely be times, just like last year, where we lick our wounds and we come down in a portfolio's value. You stretch that out and you give it enough time. This is a portfolio week to week and month to month. A lot of us stuck our heads in the sand last year. I get it. Fair enough. Leave the worry to yours truly and those behind me with LPL Financial's research team and so many others that are well informed and are equipping the portfolios with things that can whet our beak in the meantime and try to reduce the risk so that that ride feels a little more comfortable over time. Measure in years, please don't measure in months. Over time, success looks a lot better when you give it time. I think the most powerful investment of all time is time. So let's get into it as far as a dividend goes. A dividend is a huge part of a retiree's portfolio. And it's also a part of mine. When I look at investments, I want something that can stand the test of time. Now, an investment can be found through mutual funds, through ETFs, through bonds, through the individual stock. Clients own it all sorts of ways. If you see the word dividend or income, equity income, chances are you have dividends at play inside of that specific investment. If you're wondering where it is in your portfolio, clients, let's chat it up. If you're wondering if you're a qualified client that wants to come on board and take a hold of this strategy, give me a call. In the meantime, let's take a look at, again, some research. Not even that, just times where dividends have been right for portfolios. Focusing on dividends, challenging markets. When isn't it a challenging environment? Sometimes it's more challenging than others. You have war, you have a debt ceiling, you have taxes, you have changing presidencies and politics. We get it. Franklin Templeton is one group among many that provides an outlet for product, basically. You know, these funds that we can use to power a portfolio, but they've just got a good take on dividends. So I'm going to share it with you. Dividend growers have dominated in challenging markets. And again, lately, I heard one individual say the other day that his concern is the news. The news seems to just enhance volatility. And I think he's right. Over the last 5 years, access to information, we saw it. In 2020, you heard about armchair investors? I did. Folks that were just buying, I think, nonsense, sheer nonsense. But it could double and triple. And then, you know what? A lot of people got hurt and got caught holding the bag. How do you get through that time period? Well, I think you look for the companies that favor feeding the owners of those companies in the form of shareholders some form of profit. A dividend is just some profit during a year-to-year operation of the business. And it gets paid to us, again, that participate in the business through owning shares of that business. So over time, the good news is that's worked really well. What we've just been through, and probably what we're right in the middle of, is rate hikes, right? Federal rate hikes. You know the story, but look at how they've done. It's no surprise that if you look at 2022 and how it closed out, actually our dividend paying investments did quite well. Interestingly enough, I'm coming to you February 2023, and all of a sudden it seems like the armchair investors want to run and jump in again to the big risk pool. Well, with client money, I'm saying not so fast. I think over time, look, dividend payers are the green, purple are the broader S&P 500 that include the dividends, but it also includes those that do not. The green seems to have it throughout the time period of rates going up and then actually coming back down. If we look at it as an indicator of performance, do you care about the net return in your portfolio? I haven't met a client that doesn't. If we look at 30-year timeframes, this is why it's important to give it time. 5 and 10 years is what we ask of you. 5 and 10 at a time. Add another 10, add another 10. The most valuable player in a portfolio is time, folks. Dividend growers and initiators. That's what this says right here. Those that give their business shareholders a dividend. They whet their beak. They satiate their appetite for something now. Those are the ones that outperform. Look at how dividend cutters and eliminators do. There were a lot of companies that had to cut dividends. They rode up in 2020, 2021, they kind of stay there, but in 2022, fell flat on their face, right? Everybody looks smart, I heard, until you get punched in the face. I think that's a Mike Tyson quote. I don't know. Anyway, when we keep looking at this in history, dividend payers have exhibited less risk. As a retiree, or even somebody trying to grow your money, ideally, we want to grow our money, right? And in the short term, what happens if we're not? Well, less risk at least, right? Less risk means maybe we don't have to make as much. We don't have to scramble with the crowd when we get these runs higher. Dividend growers, if we just took these lines and then we say we want to be lower, not higher on the risk side, no. Looks like we want the dividend growers and the initiators, those large businesses. They don't even have to be large. They might be middle-sized or small, but they get it, that they want to entertain the appetite for something now. So that's what I'm focusing on in portfolios. It's just a part of it, but it's a big philosophy that when we're investing client money, we want that money to be able to stand the test of time. And there's no such thing as perfection in this process, but there are strict values and beliefs that I do adhere to. Again, if you're wondering how it fits into the portfolio or where it is, I'll highlight the items for you. If you're wondering if you're a qualified client, 2023, taking on new clients again, pass the word along, like this, comment below, or just send me a message again if you've got something else to chat about clients. Hang in there and carry on.